We are live. Hi everyone, welcome back to Geeks for Geeks practice. Today in this video we'll be discussing the problem of the day for 26th of Feb. The name of the problem is Escape Forbidden Forest. So please consider giving me a +1 in the chat if my voice is clearly audible to all of you and the screen is visible so that we can start with this particular problem, right? It has not been asked in any company so far, I guess, so the data was not available, but we'll be dealing with this particular problem. Like, it's a very easy problem. I will say it's a easy medium problem if you are someone who is solving DP kind of questions regularly or LCS kind of questions regularly. So please give me a +1 in the chat if my voice is clearly audible to everyone and the screen is visible so that we can start with this problem as soon as possible, right? So I'll write the name of this problem: Escape the Forbidden Forest. The name of the problem is Escape the Forbidden Forest, right? I think the notification will go in some time, hopefully, right? So in this particular problem, I'll just wait for 1 more minute for everyone else to join and then we'll start with this particular session. Hopefully the notification will go soon so that everyone else can join. I think the notification hasn't come yet. Right, so in this particular problem, what you have to, like, this is the problem of the day for today. I guess the notification has not been sent by YouTube to everyone. So I'll just wait for 1 or 2 minutes for everyone else to join and then we'll start with this problem, right? So the problem name is Escape the Forbidden Forest. And in this particular problem, what you have to do is, there's this guy, Penelope and her classmate are lost in the Forbidden Forest. So these two people are lost in the Forbidden Forest and devil is out to get them, right? So these two guys, hi Ayush Gupta. Okay, so what it's mentioned that there's a guy and her classmate, both of them are lost in a forest. Hi Mayuk. Did the notification went to you guys? I'm not sure because I haven't seen the notification yet. Okay, all of you just hit the like button, guys, and please give me a +1 in the chat. Okay, so let's continue with the problem. So problem says that there is a guy, Penelope, and there's her classmate. They both are lost in the Forbidden Forest, right? And the devil is out to get them. So the devil is out to get them. But Penelope has magical powers that can build bridges across the dangerous rivers and take her friend to safety. So this guy has some power with which he can build some bridge. This is some part of story that's not much necessary. The only bridge that can be that can withstand the devil's worth is one built using the two similar trees in the forest, right? So there are two similar kind of trees that are given in the forest, right? There are two similar kind of trees given in the forest, and I hope that I think the notification has went now. Okay, so I'll just wait for 1 or 2 minutes more, 1 minute more. I guess a lot of people are starting joining, so the notification has come now. That's perfect. Right, so in this particular problem, what you will be given is, I'll let you know. Basically, you'll be given two strings. You will be given str1 and str2. There is a long story, but there is basically str1 is given to you. There's a string 1 given to you and a string 2 given to you, right? So basically, in this question, two strings are given to you, and what's been given is they denote two different trees, right? So that's the part of the story basically that is not very much important, but I'll read it for you. So you have been given two strings denoting the order of the trees on the both the sides of the river, and what you have to do is you have to find the maximum number of bridges that can be built and save everyone from the devil, right? So let's suppose that in this question, basically it's a story based question, but the question is very easy, right? In this particular question, let's say I have been given, let's say if I was given a string, let's say if it was A, then C, then X, then Z, then P, and then Q, right? And then let's say there was a river in between, right? There was a river in between, right? So there was a river in between, right? So we'll assume that there was a river in between. Then after that, this was the str1 that was given to me, and there's a str2 that's given to me, right? So what is str2? Let's say if str2 was something like Z, then it was something like Y, then W, then X, then C, then P, right? Something like this was there. So what you have to do is you have to build, there is two strings, right? There's one tree is this, right? This is one tree and this is another tree, right? And you have to build, there's one river present in between, right? This is the river that is present between the two trees right? That's what's given. So basically what you have to do is you have to build as many bridges as possible, right? Please write clear in the chat if the problem statement up till now is clear to you guys, right? What you have to do is you have to simply build as many number of bridges as you can. So basically what you have to do is you have to build bridges, you have to connect the same characters, right? You have to connect the same characters to build the bridges. Like in this particular case, if I see this Z, so this Z can connect with this particular Z, right? Same characters can connect, and I have to build as many bridges across this river. Like this Z connects with this, then this X connects with this, right? This P connects here, and this C connects here, right? So you can see that I have built 4 bridges, right? Can you observe this thing? Can you observe this thing, guys? I hope that the question is clear. Please write a +1 in the chat if you have understood this question, right? That you have to build as many bridges as possible. I'll come back to this question. Basically, you have been given a string str1 and you have been given the str2. Both of them denote tree on either side of the river, both on the different sides of the river. And what you have to do is you have to find the maximum number of bridges that can be built to save them from the devil, right? And in this particular question, the string is given in a different way, but I'm telling you the intuition, right? Can the bridges overlap? Basically they will not overlap, right? I hope that you must have seen in bigger cities how the bridges are built. Basically it will be one across the other, they will not overlap. Basically the thing I hope that you can understand, basically the intuition behind it, that bridges will actually not overlap, they will not overlap. That is the thing. Basically if C is there, then PP is there, right? So you have to take subsequence, right? What you have to do in this question is, basically I hope that you can relate to it. So basically in this question what you have to do is you have to find the longest common subsequence, right? They will not overlap, but I was basically telling how the bridges will be built, right? So basically the longest common subsequence, right? Longest common subsequence is what you have to find in this particular question. You will be given a string str1 and you will be given a string str2, and you have to find the longest common subsequence. Let's say if it was something like this, I'll draw it for you. So let's say if it was string was ABC, then it was X, Y, Z as well, and P and Q was there as well, right? So let's say Q was here, and let's say though both of the strings can be different. So this was the str1 string, this was the str2 string that was given to me. So this was P. Then if I had something like let's say Z, let's say I had O, M, N. Then if I had something like A, all these types of things if I had. So basically I needed to connect as many things as possible, right? So one of the ways that I could think of is, let's say if it was after this I had Y and Z, right? So what I could have done is I could have connected this A here, right? This X, this Y here, and then this Z here, right? So I could have built 3 bridges. So basically I have to build the maximum number of bridges that is possible for me. And if I will decompose this particular question, so I have to build maximum number of bridges that is possible for me. So that means that I have to find as many common characters in both the strings as possible. So I have to generate a sequence. I have to find the nothing but, if I will decompose the problem statement, if I will decompose the theory, the story, so it says that I have to find the longest common subsequence in the given 2 strings are given to me, and I have to find the longest common subsequence for these strings, right? Please write clear in the chat if you guys are clear with me, right? I hope that you guys are clear with it, right? That's perfect, right? How will you do this question? Now the thing to do this question is, there can be various way, there can be 2 ways to do this question, right? Either you can do it in a recursive manner, or you can do it in a normal kind of iterative DP kind of approach, right? I hope that it's clear to you guys, right? Now in this particular question, if I will say that, let's say if I had what, ABC and I had XYZ, something was there, right? I'm assuming. And if here I had a string like, let's say A, then let's say M, and then let's say if I had something like Y, then I had R, S, then I had P, right? If I had these things, so basically I'll connect this A with this. Then maybe what I can do is I can have a lot of subsequence, right? One of the subsequence could be that, okay, I just connect this P here, right? This could be one. And maybe I see this, okay, I can connect this, and then I can connect this, right? This could be one of the answers. But one of the answers could be like, if I connect this A here, then if I connect I can see there's no common, then what I can do is I can have this Y, then I can have this P, and maybe if there were other characters and things like these. So I can see that maximum 3 bridges I can build, or whatever kind of bridges I can build. So basically I'll try to find the longest common subsequence, right? So if two strings are given to me, how to find the longest common subsequence for those strings? And now let me come back to this question. In this particular question, the strings that are given to you can have only 3 types of characters, right? In this particular question, the strings that are given to you, they can either have an at or hash or a star, right? So that's the difference. But still, the string you will be checking, right? You will be checking for the string 1, you will be checking if s of I is equal to s of j, right? S2 of j. So basically these 3 characters can be present. They like in our case I thought ABC, but basically in this question they are saying that just to manipulate the question a little bit, or just to give it a story, they have mentioned that okay, it can have a star, it can have a hash, and it can have a at, right? These are the things that it can have. Now you have to try to build the tree, thing in such a way so that you are getting the maximum length of the bridge, right? So I need to find the longest common subsequence. Now if I am given 2 substrings, right? So if I am given 2 substrings, how will you approach this? I hope that you can think of a recursive approach. So let's say if I have been given the string 1, right? If I have been given the string 1, so I'll not write the characters now. I'll just assume, right? So if these are the 2 strings, right? Both the strings can be of different lengths. Let's say the length is m, right? The length here is n, and here for the second string the length is m, right? If these are the situations that are lying ahead, what I can do is I can maybe mark a I here, right? And I can mark a j here, right? At the end of the strings, I can check anywhere, but maybe basically what I can do is either I can start both of them from the end, and then I can go till the starting of these strings, like from here till here and here till here in this case. Or I could do something like this. Both of the approaches will be the same because I'm still finding the longest common subsequence. Or if I keep my I here, I move from here to here, and j here, and I move from here to here, right? These are the things that I can do. Now there is a very basic approach for solving this particular kind of problem, right? I hope that you guys are able to do it or understand it, right? So let's say I start from here, right? My I is here, suppose my j is here, right? Now there can be various circumstances that can come ahead of me. So I'll just give me a second. I'll just move a little bit down. Okay. So if I'm here, right? If I'm here, if I'm at this particular position, right? So I'll be basically starting from the n-1th character of the first string and m-1th character of the last second string, right? Basically I'm starting from the end, but you can start from the starting as well. That's basically fine. I'm doing this in such a way because I'm thinking that okay, in the end, if my I is lesser than 0 and j is lesser than 0, in that case I will terminate, right? So that is what my approach is. But basically your approach will also, if you start from the starting I and j, that's also perfectly fine. So what I can say is what will be the base conditions for the recursive function? I'll write a recursive function, right? I'll write a recursive function. In that recursive function, let's say I name it as solve or anything. So in that particular function, first of all, I'll be passing 0. That is I index will not 0, n-1, right? Because for the first string, I'll be passing n-1, right? n-1. Then I'll be passing m-1, right? I'll be passing n-1. I'll be passing m-1. Then one other thing that I'll be passing is str1. I'll be passing the string 1, and str2 I'll also be passing, right? Okay, these are the things that I'll be passing. Basically, I'm thinking of a recursive approach. Now, what I will do is, there can be various circumstances, right? There can be various circumstances. I'll just move up a little bit. Okay, so suppose that these are the strings that I've made. Suppose I'm making it a little short so that we have some time. Okay, so if my I is standing here and my j is standing here, right? So I'll go in the recursive function, right? And when will I terminate? When are the conditions when I'll terminate? So if my I and j are standing at the end, right? If either my I is getting exhausted or j is getting exhausted, in that case I'll return, right? So I'll assume that okay, if my I is lesser than 0 or j is lesser than 0, right? In that case I'll return, right? I'll return, or you can say something like 0 from here, right? Because in that case I'll not be able to do it, right? That's the base condition that lies ahead. Is this much part clear? I hope that it makes sense, right? That if you are comparing, so you need at least one character present in both the strings. If either this string is exhausted, if either I have moved to the end of this string, you can give me a +1 in the chat if you have understood it, right? Little quick. Okay, so if I'm at the starting of this string, or I'm at the starting of this particular string, right? If I have exhausted the first string or the second string, if my I is lesser than 0 or j is lesser than 0, in that case I'll return a 0, right? So this will be the base condition. Now there can be two circumstances that can be possible for me, right? What are like they can be basically one of few of the things that are possible, right? Suppose if this character and this character are same, suppose this was a star, suppose this character is star, this character is also star. If both the characters are same, right? So what does it mean? That means that if s1 of I is equal to s2 of j, right? If both the characters are same, if both the characters are same, notice one thing, if both the characters are same, if the ith character and the jth character of s1 and s2 are same, right? In that case, can I say that I have found one character that is same, right? So I'll do one, I'll return from this string. What I'll return, I'll tell you. So basically I'll say that okay, I need to return 1 plus recursion of what I have my I and j, right? So I can say that I will move my I and j both because both are same, right? So I'll move my I to this particular point and j to this particular point. So basically I'll do what? I'll do I minus 1 comma j minus 1 comma str1 comma str2, right? This is what I'll pass. Please write agree in the chat if you agree with me. Stay till the end, you'll understand everything in detail. Basically, if the string 1 and the string 2, if the ith and the jth character, if both are same, right? In that case, what will I do? I'll simply say that okay, one character is increasing, right? Because one character is similar. So I'll say that okay, from this I can say that I'll return 1 plus recursion of this thing, right? I'll move my I to I minus 1, j to j minus 1 and str1 comma str2, right? Please write clear in the chat, guys. I hope that you guys have understood it, right? This is what I can do. Now there can be another circumstances as well. What can be that circumstance? I will tell you. So another circumstance can be that suppose that you are standing at a particular I and a particular j, right? What I'm telling is, I'll let you know, just give me a second. Okay, so if suppose that this is the block, right, and this block is having, let's say, at I'll draw a different color. So it's having a at, my I is pointing to this particular character, j is pointing in the second string to this particular character. Now my I and j both are not the same, right? Now my I and j both are not the same. If my I and j is not the same, then I have two choices. If ith character of the first string, if s1 of I is not equal to s2 of j, right? If that is the case, if the ith character of the first string and the jth character of the second string, if both are not the same, in that case, either I can move my I, so either I can say that okay, now I can move my I here and I'll keep j here only, right? I'll keep j at its position only and I can decrease my I to 1, so I can move to this particular index, right? Or another thing that I can do is I can say that okay, let's keep my I here only and let's move my j here and then compare, right? Does that make sense? There can be two choices. If s of I and s of j are not the same, please write agree in the chat, guys, that you have understood it, and please like the video. If the ith character and the jth character are not the same, right? If the ith character and jth character are not the same, right? If they are pointing to this particular character, ith and jth are pointing here, if they are not the same, so either I can move my I to this particular point, either I can move my I to this particular point here, either I can move my I here and keep j at its position, so that means I can decrease my I to I minus 1, either I can do this I minus 1 comma j and check it for the string 1 and string 2 passing it, or I can do I comma j minus 1, right? Or what I can do is I can keep my I at its position, so I can keep I here, and what I can do is I can move my j here, and then compare, right? Are you guys clear with this part? I hope that you guys are clear with this particular thing, right? Up till now, hope that makes sense. That is, if the character is same, if ith and jth characters are same, then you simply do what? Then you simply return the recursive function, then you call the recursive function for I minus 1 comma j minus 1, right? You call for it and you pass the strings as well, right? That's perfectly fine. But you call for I minus 1 comma j minus 1 when both the ith and jth characters are same. But if they're not the same, then I will call this particular recursive function for I minus 1 comma j. I'll call the recursive function for I minus 1 comma j and I comma j minus 1, right? It's very much intuitive. I'll write this again for you. I'll write this again for you for making you understand it better in a better manner, right? Now the thing is, if my s of I is equal to s of j, so basically that means that If the ith and the jth characters are same, so then I'll decrement both of them by 1. So I'll do this thing, something like this, right? I'll return, let's say, recursion of something like this I'll do, right? Or let's not talk about the returning part. Let's talk about the recursive part only. Firstly, let's focus on the recursive function. So what I'll do is I'll call the recursive function and I'll call it for what? I'll call it for I minus 1 comma j minus 1, and I'll pass the strings str1 str2. That is something that I'll do, right? Str1 str2 I'm not writing for saving some space. But else if it's not the same, then I have two choices. Either I call this particular recursive function, that is I minus 1 comma j, or I call this particular recursive function, that is I comma j minus 1, right? This is what I can do. Guys, please hit the like button if you are liking the explanation up till now. Okay, it will motivate me a lot. Right now, if I have two choices, right? If the characters are not the same, if the character is same, then this is one of the choices that I can have, right? This is one of the choices that I can have. But if the characters are not the same, then I have two choices. If the character is same, then I have just one choice. But if the characters are not the same, then I have two choices. Either I can decrement my I can move my I towards the left and keep the j as it is, or I can change my keep my I same and move my j to one step back, right? That is something that I can do. Guys, hit the like button please, a little quick, so that we can move forward. Okay, right, that is something that I can do. So that is actually what I'll be doing, right? Now tell me one thing, guys, tell me one thing. Now there are two choices, right? What I'm saying is if my s of I, s1 of I is not equal to s2 of j, right? If the ith character of the first string and the jth character of the second string, if both of them are not the same, in that case I have two choices, right? Either I can call the recursive function for I minus 1 comma j, or I can call the recursive function for I comma j minus 1. Now whichever function I am calling, it will give me some value. This function will give me some value, and this function will give me some value, right? If I call both of them differently, then they will give different answers, right? Can I say that I can have only choices are two? That is perfectly fine, but I need to maximize the number of bridges, right? I need to maximize the number of bridges that I'm making. That is, I need to maximize the number of longest common subsequence, right? The number of characters that are same, I need to maximize that. And since I want to maximize, so can I say that I'll be considering the maximum of the two? That is, I'll be considering this thing. Let me write it. I'll be considering the maximum value. That is, I'll be doing from this particular recursive call. I'll do this thing. I'll return the maximum of the recursive call for I minus 1 comma j comma recursive call for I comma j minus 1. Consider that I'll be passing the strings as well, but I've not written it for the sake of some clarity, right? I'll be having both the options, right? Either I can do this or I can do this, but whatever, this will give me some value, this will give me some value. I cannot take both, right? I cannot take both because I have to find the longest common subsequence. Since I have to maximize it, right? I have to maximize it. So that's why I'll apply the maximum function, so that whichever recursive call is giving me the maximum value, that is something that I'll take. Please write agree in the chat, guys, a little quick. Please write agree in the chat. If you agree with me, please write +1 in the chat. Please write agree in the chat, guys, so that we can move forward. Right? Is this much part clear to everyone? Please hit the like button. Can we take two maps and store each string characters frequency? Aryant Kapoor, this is the question for longest common you can say subsequence, right? So that is something that I will not suggest. You can try to do it. If you find difficulty, then you can ping me on LinkedIn or somewhere, but I will not suggest this, right? If I'm telling you this thing, so this is what I'm telling in terms of intuition, right? Everything is intuition based. Now let me know one thing, right? Let's talk about one more thing, right? So is the recursive part clear to everyone? Please write clear in the chat. Everyone please write clear in the chat so that I can move forward, right? A little quick agree in the chat, clear in the chat, +1 in the chat, right? Now the thing is, I'll let you know one thing. Let's say I'm talking about when the strings are not equal, right? So when I have I comma j, right? I'll write it again. Give me a second. So if I have I comma j, right? Let's suppose that I and j are having some values, right? So what I'm assuming is, I'm assuming that, let's say I had a value like 4 comma 4, right? Initially, or let's say if I had let's say I had 4 comma 4, I and j values was 4 and 4, right? So if I have one choice, either I could decrement this first value and keep the second same, or I can increase this decrement the second value, right? Is keep the same first value same. So if I do it this way, so it either it could be 3 comma 4 or it could be 4 comma 3, right? Now from here also assume that the characters are not the same. Every time I'm assuming that the characters are not the same. If the characters are not the same, in that case I'll have two options here as well. If ith and the jth character for this, all these indexes are not the same again. So either I decrease my first, so that is I. So that is I change this to 2 and I keep this to 4. Either I keep the same and I keep 3 comma 3, right? Now either I do from here, I change this. So either I change I or I change my j. So either it could be like this, right? Now similarly here also, please write understood in the chat if you are getting all these points, right? If you are getting this recursive tree that I am making, right? Then 1 comma 4, and this would be what? This would be nothing but 2 comma 3, right? Now this is what? This is nothing but 2 comma 3. This is what? This is nothing but 3 comma 2. Now this is what? This is nothing but 2 comma 3. This is what? This is 3 comma 2, right? Now here also 3 comma 2 and 4 comma 1, right? Now understand something, let's come to this, right? Now you know that for calling, right? Let's suppose that I'm at this particular recursive call. I have not written the REC thing so that you can understand in terms of numbers only, right? Now understand this point. If I'm here, right, and this tree will go down as well, this tree will go down a lot, right? This tree will go down a lot, right? It will go down until you reach 0, right? Until you reach 0, it will go down, right? I hope that you can understand it. I'm not making it for saving some time, basically. So now you can understand, if I have to calculate this particular value for the recursive call of 3 comma 3, right? For the recursive call for 3 comma 3, that is I is equal to 3, j is equal to 3. If I have to do this, so I have to come down a lot, like this will go down, right? This will go down. So I have to calculate it, right? But can you see that I have to calculate it here as well, right? So if you have calculated earlier here only, will you go down again and calculate it? Will you do this? Please write yes or no in the chat. If you have calculated recursive call for 3 comma 3, that is I is equal to 3, j is equal to 3 already, will you calculate it again? That can you tell me, right? Guys, please let me know. Will you do this again? No, right? If you have calculated 3 comma 3 already, right? If you have calculated the recursive call for 3 comma 3, that is when I is equal to 3 and j is equal to 3, if you have called if you have done this again already, will you call the recursive function again and you'll go down, you'll again call so much recursively? Will you do this? No, you will not do this, right? I hope that this makes sense. No, no, right? Please write no in the chat if you agree that no, you will not do this, right? Please write no in the chat, a little quick, man. Right, this is something that you will not do, right? Why you will not do this? You will not do this because if you have calculated this, right, understand, you have already calculated for this recursive call 3 comma 3. Why will you calculate this again? Why will you calculate this again, right? You have already calculated it. So that is something. Now let me tell you one more thing, right? Whenever you do this thing, whenever you have 2 choices, 3 choices or something like that, right? So let's say if I had Fibonacci of 6, right? I had Fibonacci of 6. Here I have Fibonacci of 5. Here I have Fibonacci of 4. And here I have Fibonacci of 4. Here I have Fibonacci of 3. Basically f of n. From f of n, if I go to f of n minus 1 and f of n minus 2, this is something that I am drawing, right? Basically the Fibonacci series I am trying to draw to relate it. What will be the time complexity of the recursive approach? It will be exponential. If I will do it recursively, so it will be exponential, right? It will be exponential because every time I have 2 choices, right? For let's say if there are m cross n characters, right? If total number of characters are m cross n, right? Total characters are m cross n, right? Total number of characters, right? M into n. Total number of possible i's and j's combinations is m cross n, right? Total. And if for each character, if for one pair of I and j, total number of pairs for I and j will be m cross n. So if for one pair of I and j, if one pair of I and j is having 2 options, so that means m into n, right? If the first pair is having 2 options, second pair will have 2 options, third will have 2 options until what? M minus m cross n pairs, right? So that means it will be exponential, so it will be 2 to the power m cross n if I will do it recursively, right? Does that make sense? If I will calculate it again and again, so in that case it will be it will be a little bit complex for me. The time complexity will be a lot, right? Now let me draw this part to complete it. I hope that you guys have understood it, right? Please write +1 in the chat. Please give me a yes in the chat, and please like the video if you are understanding up till now, right? It's been half an hour. I've been explaining a lot, right? Now what I can do is f of 3 and f of 2. Similarly here f of 2, f of 1, right? Here also f of 2, f of 1, right? Now here also it will be f of 3 and f of 2, right? Now here f of 2, f of 1, right? Now let me know one thing, guys. Let me know one thing. Just give me a second. I'll erase this part. Okay, please write +1. Okay, I hope that you are understanding the intuition, everything behind this question, right? I'm trying to explain you why we are doing the memoization kind of thing. So basically this is f of 5, right? So basically now let me know one thing. You have this f of 4, right? You have this f of 4. If you have gone down so much, right? If you have already calculated f of 4, will you calculate this f of 4 now here also? Will you do this? Will you do this? No, you will not do this. Assume that f of 1 and f of 2 are already given to you, right? In initial values, in terms of initial values, right? Base values. If you have already calculated f of 4, will you calculate f of 4 again? Will you go down so much and calculate f of 4 again? No. No, that is not something that you will do. No, this is not something that you'll do. If you have already calculated f of 4, so what you can do is you can store its value, and when you see that okay, I'm calling the recursive function for 4, this function for 4 again, in that case I don't need to go down, man. You just come here and return the value directly, because whatever you have stored, right, that's what you do. So in that case the time complexity will reduce, because every pair, if there are m cross n pairs, right, so earlier what I was doing was I was calculating every pair every time, but now m cross n different pairs are there, right? I hope that you can understand. If the first string length is 3, second string's length is 4, so total there will be 12 combinations, right? Total there will be 12 combinations of I and j, right? And if you are calling this recursive function every time, in that case it will be exponential, right? 2 to the power m cross n. If you do this in the recursive manner, so the time complexity will be order of 2 to the power m cross n. But if you calculate one type of thing once only, so it will be order of n cross m only. Why? Because let me give you one hint, right? If this function is f of n, right? If the f of n I am calculating, and in this f of n, whatever value I have, let's say I have f of 1 is there, f of 3 is there, f of 4 is there, right? If I am calculating each function only once, right? Every function I am calculating only once. So instead of order of 2 to the power n, the time complexity will be order of n. Instead of, if I am calculating this f of n function is there, if I am calculating every value only once, right, and next time I want to calculate it, I am returning it. So I am doing this in order of n time, right? Because I am calculating every value only once instead of doing this recursively. So it will be reduced to order of n, because I'm calculating each value exactly once, and whenever I'm finding that okay, this function needs to be calculated again, this thing needs to be calculated again, this recursive approach needs to be done again, so I'm directly returning the value, right? So that is what I'm doing here as well. That if I have earlier I have order of 2 cross m, right? But if I calculate each one, like if the first string size is 3, another string size is 4, so there are 12 possible combinations. If I'll calculate each combination one time, or exactly, right, so in that case the time complexity will reduce, right? It will be m cross n, right? Does this make sense? The time complexity, please write agree in the chat, guys. A little quick, please write agree in the chat. So that is why what I'll do is like there you saw, right, 3 comma 3 was already present, so I'll make a dp, I'll make a 2d dp of I and j. I'll make a 2d dp on I and j, and since the values are all positive or 0, so I'll initialize every value of the dp, every value of the 2d dp to -1, right? I'll declare a 2d dp. Please write agree in the chat, guys. A little quick agree in the chat, +1 in the chat. I can see the number of people watching are more and the number of viewers are less, number of likes are less, so please hit the like button, guys, right? Now the thing with this question is that if you have to calculate the dp, right, so there will be a dp of nm, right, size, right, I and j, right? So you initialize for every value, you run a loop, basically you initialize every value to -1. So basically this will be the dp in which the states will be stored. So what you do is you initialize every value for every ij, you initially initialize it to -1 before recursively calling it, right? And once you have done this, so this means that okay, this function is this particular state I comma j is not calculated. If it's not calculated, then dp of ij will be -1. If it's calculated, if it's Abhishek Kumar Singh, you can watch the video again and then you will definitely get every intuition behind it, right? right? Another thing is that what I need to do, if dp of ij is already calculated, right, if it's not equal to -1, in that case that means that I will have already calculated its value, then in that case I'll return its value. Otherwise, if this particular state for this particular recursive call I comma j, if I have not called it already, right, if I have not called it already, so I'll call it, and then in the end, before returning this function, I'll do this thing, dp of ij is equal to whatever answer I've stored from this particular state, right, and then I'll return, right. For doing this, I'll show you the code as well, don't worry, right. So for doing this, the time complexity will reduce to order of n cross m, because I'm using a memoization kind of approach. I'm calculating each different pair exactly once, and the space complexity would be order of n cross m. Okay, right. Feedback noted, Abhishek. Okay, right. Now let me submit this code and show you that it's working perfectly fine, and then we'll proceed further, right? All of you just give me a +1 in the chat now, right? Can you see this, that this question got accepted, this problem got accepted, right? Can you have an observation at this question? It got accepted, right? All the 200 cases got passed. Now let me show you the code part for this particular problem, and I'll explain it to you as well, right? So what I'll do is, you will be giving me this function, right, this particular function. So this particular function build bridges. In this they will be giving me the string 1 and the string 2, str1 and str2. So n1 is what? N1 is what? N1 is, you can say n or n1, whatever. Let's take it as n and m. So what I can do is, give me a second, guys. Right. So what I'm saying is, you calculate the size of the first string and the second string, and you initialize your dp, and you make your dp as -1. Every dp of ij, you make every state of dp ij as -1, right? You declare a 2d dp, and every dp of ij you make it as -1. Either you can do it this way by resize function, by memset function in C++, or you can run a loop, right? For ij, you can run a loop, nested loop for ij, and you can initialize it to -1. Then what you can do is, you can directly return this recursive function. This recursive function, I'll be telling you what it is. Basically, the string 1 I'm passing, string 2 I'm passing, n-1 I'm passing, and m-1 I'm passing. So first string I'm pointing to its end, second string I'm pointing to its end, right? Please write clear in the chat if you have understood up till now. Okay, now the thing is, what I'll do is, I have declared this dp as global. You can declare it in the you can pass it in the function as well. Now when are the situations when I'll return? Now you can take a screenshot of this, right? I'll just reduce it. Guys, you can take a screenshot a little quick. Please take the screenshot of this particular code so that you can try to implement it by yourself as well, right? I hope that you have taken the screenshot. Now coming back to this question. Now if my I is lesser than 0 or my j is lesser than 0, right? If my I is exhausted or my j is exhausted, right? If the first string is over, guys, give me a +1 in the chat and like the video. So if the first string is exhausted or the second string is exhausted, right? In that case, I'll return a 0 because I cannot build any bridges further. Or if my I or j both are standing at the end, right? If I and j both are standing at the last character, if my I or either j, right? If either of them is standing at the last character of the respective string, in that case I need to check whether str of I and str of j is same or not. If it is same, then I'll need to return 1. Otherwise this will not be done, right? Return 1 will not be done. Now, as I told you, if I'll do it recursively, so it will be exponential. That's why I'm using a dp. So I'm checking if dp of ij is not equal to -1. So if this is not already calculated, so that means that if this is already calculated, if it is not equal to -1, if this is not equal to -1, so that means it's already calculated. So that means, let's say 3,3 state is already calculated. That means that recursion of 3,3 is already calculated. So if it's already calculated, then I'll not call it recursively again, right? I'll directly return its value. That is, I'll directly for this recursive, I can return, let's say, dp of 3,3 for recursive call of 3,3 if it's already calculated, right? That is what I'll do. And after this, what I can do is, I can have two types of answers, right? I will mark my answer as 0 if my ith and the jth character are the same, right? Then in that case, I will add it to my answer, right? I will add it to my answer if the ith and the jth character are the same. Since I want to build the maximum number of bridges, in that case, what I'll do is, I'll count them as 1. I'll add 1 to my final answer, and I'll move my I to 1 step back and j to 1 step back, right? I'll move my I and j one step back, right? One steps towards the left, right? That is what I'll do. Otherwise, there can be another situation such that if the ith and the jth character are not the same, in that case, I need to call the recursive function for I comma j minus 1 and I minus 1 comma j, and out of both these recursive calls I need to find the maximum. So that is what I'll store in the answer, and in the end I'll simply return the dp. I'll simply store this answer, so and I'll return this answer and I'll store it in the dp. So dp of ij is equal to answer. That is what I'll do. Please write clear in the chat if you have understood this part, right? I hope that you guys have understood it. Guys, please write +1 or clear in the chat. Samar, Shreya, Aman, Aditya, Mahesh, and Mayank, Ayush, all of you, just give me a +1 in the chat. Have you guys understood it? I hope that you have, right? I hope that you guys have understood it. Is this much part clear to everybody? Is there any doubt? So this was the problem. Basically, you had to find the longest common LCS. You have to find the LCS. Is it clear to everyone? Please write clear in the chat, right? Please give me a +1 in the chat. It motivates me to bring more quality video tutorials for you. It's been 40 minutes, 41 minutes since we have been streaming, and I've been trying to put in a lot of effort. Shreya and Aditya, Aman, everyone, just give me a +1 in the chat, guys. And like the video if you haven't liked the video. If you have friends, so make sure to share this with your friends, right? Because that if they are someone who is struggling with solving these problems, so you can share these problems with them. Because in every problem, it's not that I say that okay, this is the concept you use. I try to bring in the concept and I try to decompose it every way possible, right? I've told you about Fibonacci, everything I've told you in this question, so that you can relate things very much, right? So that's it for today. I guess there are no doubts up till now. So thanks a lot everyone for watching. Make sure to solve the problem of the day on Geeks for Geeks every day, and make sure to hit the like button if you're someone who is watching this video after the streaming is done. So make sure to like the video and make sure to subscribe the video, guys, if you haven't done this. And we'll be bringing a lot of quality content on GFG practice from now on for all of you. So there are some surprises that are lying ahead for you. Stay tuned for them. A lot of series are planned for you, so we are planning them. We will be starting them soon. So make sure to like this, share it with your friends on WhatsApp or any other thing. If you have some groups with people, if you code, right? So do that. And if you want a brief of recursion, so please go through the video again, Abhishek. And after this video is over, you can comment down, and whatever you find difficult, I'll definitely reply to your comment to answer it, right? So that's it for today. Thanks a lot everyone for watching. If you are someone who is watching the recording or the live, make sure to hit the like button, guys. It motivates me a lot to bring more quality video tutorials for you. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in the next live. Till then, take care. Happy coding. Stay safe.